Good morning, CLC. We're so happy that you're here and joining us. And with that, I invite you now to say with me, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. I am prosperous now, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. I forgot to grab this. So thank you, Lisa. Now I invite everyone to relax in this moment. Put everything aside. Whatever you have going on, just let it go just for the moment. Take some nice, deep, cleansing breaths. Align your body and mind with spirit. And be here now. Universal love enfolds me. Universal wisdom inspires me. Universal spirit enlightens me. Universal power encircles me. I am one, and all is well. As we begin the inner healing process, let me invite you to relax in quiet confidence, opening yourself to the miracle-working higher power. Now symbolize the unity of your thinking and feeling nature by touching your chest with your right hand, and let my words act as your own for your own inner healing, acceptance, and receptivity. I acknowledge that there is a power, intelligence, and wisdom greater than my own. I am in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of me, sensitive and responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling. I now make this true for myself by saying aloud, I acknowledge. Acknowledging the higher power working through my life, I admit that I am personally responsible for solving my own problems while being guided and assisted by something greater than myself. As I am ready to surrender the conflicts of my ego to the wisdom of the infinite presence, I simply speak these words: I surrender. Knowing that forgiveness is the key to unconditional love and the feeling of heaven, I now unconditionally forgive anyone and everyone who has ever injured me in any way, real or imagined. And I now forgive myself for all my mistaken judgments and their resulting actions. From my deepest level of understanding, I now say, I forgive. Realizing that I continually experience the effects of my own thinking, I choose to allow this higher power to recreate me deeply, filling my mind with thoughts that are only positive, constructive, loving, and beautiful. I call upon this divine inflow by stating aloud, I choose. I now center upon that one special idea that I'm willing to accept as real for me in this coming week. Visualizing the idea is already acted upon and brought to pass. In seeing my idea become a fact of my experience, I enjoy the happiness and peace of my thought fulfilled and gratefully speak these words: I accept. Knowing that I have an everlasting place in the midst of the power that sustains all creation, as well as the support of all those around me, I allow myself to relax in the peace of fulfillment and gratitude and say, I release. Now, in my mind's eye, I envision the presence of someone near and dear to me. This can be a friend, a family member, a mentor, a teacher, someone who has touched my life in deep and loving ways. Someone who may not be physically present in the room with me this morning. I turn toward that image in my mind's eye and say, I am grateful for the good in your life. Now I open my eyes, turn to the world around me, and joyfully speak to anyone who may be physically present in the room or virtually present on this broadcast, and share in gratitude and confidence in saying, I am grateful for the good in your life. Grateful for the good in your life.
Good morning, Creative Life. I'm glad these lights work. I didn't test them earlier. You got to trust sometimes in life certain things. So, today is about Advent, and Advent is about waiting, and waiting is about preparation. And that's what I'm going to talk about. But the first thing I want you to do is I want you to kiss an angel good morning. Kiss an angel good morning. Your beloved, your child, your parent, whoever happens to be in the house with you. Some of you will take that reference, and if you don't, it's an homage to the late, great Charlie Pride, who passed away yesterday at the age of 87 from complications of the coronavirus in Dallas. And he was an inspiration, literally, to millions for his music. And the fact that he left his lane, let's say, moved into a genre of performance where he had to really blaze a trail. He was the first black member of the Country Music Hall of Fame. And he had, you know how many top 10 country hits he had? You know, if you get one, that's really something. You can say, I had a top 10 country hit. If you get a half a dozen or a dozen, he had 52 in 20 years. 52 top 10 country hits. And the reaction of other performers is just starting. People are starting to find the words to say what he meant to them. And it's coming across on social media. So I bring him up because he was a great human, a great Texan, a great American, a great musician, also a great baseball player. And because he prepared himself. He prepared himself. Let's use that aspect of many aspects of his amazing life as a lesson to us. He prepared himself. Advent is about waiting, and waiting is about preparation. It's not just a passive waiting that something's going to come. Even if you believe that the deity is going to be born in your time and in your culture and in your heart, and the deity is unimaginable to you, and it's vast and incomprehensible, you still have to prepare at the level of understanding, at the level of belief, in order to have a room for it to land and to see it when it comes walking into your life. If you want to personify God for a moment, and the fancy word for this is anthropomorphize. If you want to anthropomorphize God for a moment, I don't recommend it as a regular routine, but just for the moment, if you want to picture God as a great big being, if that being came walking into your life and presented itself to you, would you recognize it? Do you recognize grace when it occurs in your life? Do you recognize beauty when it occurs? Do you recognize answers to prayer? Charlie Pride had a song that he didn't write. He wrote many, but he had one that he would sing in spiritual settings. It was on one of his gospel albums, and it's from the late 19th century, called Did You Think to Pray? Did you think to pray? You got up today, you went out in the world. Did you think to pray? Have you done your work? That's what Ernest Holmes used to call it. He said, have you done your work? Al Reed, Reverend Al Reed here in town, many of you will recall, was on our stage 2 years ago, January, for Ernest Holmes Day. We're going to do that. We're going to figure out a way to do something special next month for that. Well, Reverend Al has a saying. People would come to him for instruction in the science of mind, in spiritual matters, and he would teach them about affirmative prayer, he'd teach them about meditation, teach them about the necessary things that you need to do, and send them on their way. And then if they came back and they said, I need a meeting with you because I got a problem in my life, he would ask them first, have you done your work? Have you done your work? And if they said, oh no, I forgot I could do my work, he would say, do your work, then we'll talk. In a not unkind way, but a direct way. Have you done your work? Have you done your work today? Did you remember to pray today? Did you remember to do what you know to do today? Did you remember to forgive today? Did you remember to give thanks today? And it's early in the morning yet. So you got the whole day ahead of you where you could be doing this. Did you remember to do these things? All of the sayings that you've heard about God has to meet you halfway, or you have to meet God halfway, or God can only accomplish for you what God can accomplish through you. All of these sayings ring true. We have to do our work. So in the Advent experience, the run-up to the birth, here's another fancy word for you, theophany, the birth of the deity in your space. In the run-up to that, we're the ones that have to get ready. The deity's got it all pulled together. We're the ones who have to do the backstage work, to open our hearts, to prepare ourselves for the Christ idea to come in. And at this season of the year, we typically imagine it as the Christ idea of forgiveness, of trust, of innocence, of wonder. We'll talk more about this as we get closer to Christmas, but the infant in you is impressionable and open and so on. We foster that Christ idea. We work with that Christ idea. We prepare a quiet place in the heart. What's a quiet place in the heart look like? It's a place past opinion. I have a lot of noisy opinions, and you probably do too. Okay? Outside of this venue, I can get to talking about them. And we'll have a conversation. And if you want to talk about economics, or you want to talk about politics, or you want to talk about sports, or you want to talk about the weather, I'll have opinions for you. I read the same news feeds everybody else does, and I make up my mind about how things are, and that's great. The thing about an opinion is you could be wrong. You could be wrong. It's not a fact set, it's a theoretical thing. You could be wrong, but we all hold forth with our opinions. We all fill the air with sound, But back of all of that, there's a silence. Back of all of that, there's a place of waiting and preparation for something amazing to occur. In the Advent calendar, when I was a little kid and I was raised in a Christian home, and we had an Advent calendar, and I was an only child, so I got a lot of attention, as children do if they're kind of got a doting family around them and stuff. And so we had the Advent calendar. You open a little door on it every day. There'd be a gift every day of some kind. Can you imagine? I mean, talk about spoiled God. Anyhow, some kind of little special gift. And when you're a little kid, you think, oh, good, candy, food. Food is good. Toys are good. Anything of form, of substance. Later I learned the gifts are of the Spirit. The gifts are of the heart. These are the gifts that you open every day. Not just the gifts that are beautifully wrapped, by the way. Not just the beauty and the wonder and the joy and all of this, but sometimes the pain, the grief, the loss, the suffering. This is a year, Brian and I were talking about musicians that we've lost this year just because of the COVID virus. Actors, performers, notable people in the culture. We've had losses in our spiritual community from COVID and from other reasons, and it's a bleak time for many. I thought of that as I got in the car this morning to come here. It's a bleak morning. It's a gray, rainy, cold morning. Actually, part of me kind of likes it because this is what I associate with the time of year, but at the same time, it's kind of gloomy. Yeah, it's a little gloomy. Well, this is a different kind of experience that we're having right now, and these are gifts. These are gifts too, and I don't say that in a masochistic sort of a way, but every loss is a gift. Every loss toughens you up to face your own mortality, I suppose, to face your own journey, and it makes us more compassionate about the cares of others. When somebody else has a loss and it's not yours, you get to feel it. You know, when you notice the tears streaming down the faces of your beloveds. So we've had pain, we've had suffering, we've also had a lot of uncertainty, and we've had a lot of the kind of waiting of what comes next, and of the mysteries dark and vast that face us. The greatest one of all probably is what's coming next. Is it what we hope? Will it be better? But whatever it is, it'll be a surprise. And we don't like surprises. Oh, people say they like surprises. You know, they like surprise parties. And I don't know. I don't think people really like surprises. You know, they're appreciative if you do something like that, of the effort that you went to and everybody came out, you know, for the thing. But mostly it's like, no, tell me what to expect so that I know what to wear, so that I know how to look, so that I know how to take this in, you know. So we don't want to really be surprised too much. We just want kind of gradual, incremental relief as we go along. So we work on ourselves, and I found for you a poem. Actually, it found me. It found you through me, this poem, which has been around a while. It's by W.S. Merwin, who was Poet Laureate of the United States and Pulitzer Prize winner. And it's a long story how it happened to cross my field of vision in time for today. But it goes to the point of the Advent calendar, so I invite you to picture in your mind. If you don't know what one looks like, it's about the size of a regular wall calendar. It has little flaps for each day that open out, little, you know, like cardboard little flaps, and there's a little picture behind it. And again, the pictures are usually associated with some kind of small present that might be given to a child. So I invite you to think of these different varieties of gifts that occur for us during this time as I read you this poem, which is simply called Thanks. Listen. With the night falling, we are saying thank you. We are stopping on the bridges to bow from the railings. We are running out of the glass rooms with our mouths full of food to look at the sky and say thank you. We are standing by the water, thanking it, standing by the windows looking out in our directions. Back from a series of hospitals, back from a mugging, after funerals, we are saying thank you. After the news of the dead, whether or not we knew them, we are saying thank you. Over telephones, we are saying thank you. In doorways and in the backs of cars and in elevators, remembering wars and the police at the door and the beatings on stairs, we are saying thank you. In the banks, we are saying thank you. In the faces of the officials and the rich and of all who will never change, we go on saying thank you, thank you. With the animals dying around us, our lost feelings, we are saying thank you. With our forests falling faster than the minutes of our lives, we are saying thank you. With the words going out like cells of a brain, with the cities growing over us, we are saying thank you faster and faster. With nobody listening, we are saying thank you. We are saying thank you and waving, dark though it is. Thank you. Thank you to what has been. Thank you to what is. Thank you to what is yet to be. So, in the preparation, I heard something from Donald John Lewis Jr. when we were sitting on this stage having our conversation about race on the 28th of October. And actually, he had said it to me before as we were talking about the preparation for that event. And he said, we must focus, meaning in that talk, we must focus on what we can control. On what we can control. What can we control? We control the self. So I found you this line, this passage, actually, from one of the songs in the musical Hamilton. I am the one thing in life I can control. I am inimitable. I am an original. I'm not falling behind or running late. I'm not standing still. I am lying in wait. I am lying in wait. I'm going to split the difference on this and say we're standing in wait. We're standing in wait. We're ready. We're kind of poised, sort of bent at the knees a little, and kind of a half, not quite a crouch, you know, but they tell you don't stand with your knees locked because you get real tired, right? So we're going to bend the knees slightly, and we're ready. We're ready for what comes next, because I can promise you one thing and one thing only. It will be of God. It will be of the one source. However it looks, wherever it leads, it will issue from the one. There is nothing beside that one. There is nothing in opposition to that one. There is just that one. And so it will either be healing or a step toward healing. It will either be a prospering or an opening into prospering. It will either be boundless love or the recognition of what we need to do to accept boundless love. It'll either be the reward or the assignment. But it will come from this one. As did everything that's going on. As is everything in this world and any other world that may exist, all from this one. So we're ready. We're ready, and we're preparing every day. And just to wrap this up, you know, the preparation sometimes doesn't look fancy. I saw a line I was going to quote for you, and I don't remember it right off the bat, so I'll wing it. And it's by a professional basketball player, and he said, if you want to be cheered on, I'm paraphrasing here. You can Google it and get the exact, you know. But he says, if you want to be cheered on and celebrated in front of thousands, you have to outwork thousands in front of nobody. In front of nobody. Isn't that great? And so it's not, let's go with that visual. Picture a man or a woman, a basketball player. He's a man, so I went with a man. But picture a basketball player, gender irrespective, letting themselves into a gym. It's probably a padlock of some kind, chain on the door, you know, letting themselves in, turning on the lights on the court, finding the rack full of basketballs, and starting to shoot free throws. It's 11 o'clock at night. Cold winter's night, snow drifts outside, not a soul around. And this person is shooting free throws. They're maybe not on a team. Haven't gone out for a team. Maybe got turned down by a team. They don't know when this is going to turn into something. They don't know when they're going to be at the scorer's table checking into a game. All they know is what I've got before me to do is get better. What I've got before me to do is to shoot these shots until I can shoot them in my sleep. And every time I watch a basketball game, and the NBA season's just about to start, every time I watch a game and somebody shoots a free throw and just nothing but net, and they can stand there and do this time after time, I realize there was a time when they couldn't even hit the rim. There was a time when they could barely lift the ball. They grew into what I'm seeing. Anytime You see a Charlie Pride take the stage, which I've been privileged to do, and you see this man perform, and it looks so easy, and it looks so effortless, and it looks so, again, the preparation that went into that. And what drove him to do that was he couldn't not do it. The passion that he had to bring forth the music that was in his heart. We all have that. If we don't think we have, we just haven't found it yet. So it's a time to listen. It's a time to listen to what is it I came here to do. So sometimes the preparation doesn't look all that elaborate. Sometimes it's not a dress rehearsal. Sometimes it's a cold read. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's the first shot out of the box, and it looks real rugged and miscellaneous, but it's a step in the direction that we want to go. Sometimes the present doesn't look pretty, but unwrap it. And once you've unwrapped it, you sit there with the thing and you think, do you ever have a relative give you a present and you're like, what in the world is this? What am I supposed, a new gizmo, you know, right? Because they're all the time coming out with new gizmos, maybe a thing for the, I don't know, the kitchen or whatever. This is the greatest thing. It'll slice and dice and chop and mince, and you're like, what in the world is this, you know? And so you don't know, and life hands you a lot of presents like that. You say, I don't know what to do with this. I'm not going to need this. Sometimes you get the keys to the Ferrari before you have the driver's license, you know? And you're like, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with this? You might not know. There's something that does know. There's something that does know. It was in alignment with you. So these are some thoughts on Advent. Next Sunday, we consider Yule. Yule. In the South, we call it y'all, but it's the, oh, that's terrible, I know. The winter solstice, all right? And of course, we've got a Christmas Eve service, and then we begin to think about the turning of the page of the calendar. Actually, a whole new calendar. You get a whole new calendar on the hook for as we move into 2021. Let us know together now there is one life, one power, one presence, pure spirit, everywhere radiant, everywhere manifesting, and it shows up as what I call gloom today in the weather, and that's just an opinion. It's just a judgment. And I know behind these clouds the sun shines. And I know for every night there is a day, and for every loss there is a fulfilling. I evoke now an awareness of the one life, the one power, the one presence that is God, our spirit, our source, the ultimate ground of our being, the field of energy in which all things are united, infinite cosmic intelligence, however you choose to think of it, is perfect. And moreover, it's thinking of you, as you. For as the founder of this teaching said, that which we are looking for, we are looking at, and we are looking with. More one than that, it is impossible to get. More unified. That what I am looking for, I am looking at and with. Well, I dare say that what so many of us are looking for is a way out of the struggle, of the suffering, of the loss, and a way in to peace and joy and understanding, and even just an ordinary holiday where we can gather with the people of our hearts in the way that we always have, without precaution, without pretense, without any unusual intrusion into that experience. Well, what we're looking for, we're looking at. Transform the quality of this moment by the renewing of our minds, the moving of consciousness, through forgiveness, through gratitude, through wonder and astonishment and awe. I affirm and know this for each one of us and all sentient beings everywhere. For this knowing and the way that it manifests in form, I am so deeply grateful. I release this word now into the infinite, calling it done, and so it is.
I can honestly say that's one of my favorite Christmas songs. So, I have an Advent calendar, but mine was different, or is different, because I still have it. Mine is a little, I'm going to say wooden box, and it opens, and then there are a bunch of pegs on it. And what you do is every day you hang an ornament on it. It's a manger. It's the stable. And so now I'm thinking about that Advent calendar, because on Christmas, I'm trying to think if there are 24 or 25, which tells you that it's been a little while since I've seen it, because I haven't dug it out this year, and maybe I should. It was a gift from my mother. The last one you put in is Jesus in the manger. And early on, you put in the shepherds, and then their sheep, and so now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, okay, if it's an Advent calendar and these are all gifts, then each one of those, including the camel and the sheep, represent a gift. And so now I'm going to have to go back and think about that. And now that I've put it in your head, you get to too. So you're welcome. There are many kinds of gifts in Advent calendars, and there's mine. So it is a dreary raining day, but we need the rain. And the trees are still putting forth amazing and glorious colors. And if you haven't gone out and looked, I encourage you to do so, because there's some brilliant red and some brilliant oranges and some brilliant yellows. And then because we live where we do, there are still some beautiful bright greens and dark greens, and a couple of those trees have highlights. Like, oh. So I encourage you to go out and look at the beauty that is happening around you, even on rainy days, because cloudy days actually make for better pictures. So before you go out and take a good look at the leaves on the trees, I'm going to encourage you to know that there is one life, one power, one presence, one love. And the source of all of that beauty out there is the same source that made you. That love flows in you, through you, around you. But most importantly, it does flow through you. And as it flows through you, it flows out into other people. Our gift is to be divine distributors. And what we get to distribute is love and beauty and creativity and kindness and compassion. And it comes from an inexhaustible source. A source that will never run dry. A source that will never abandon us. Because it can't. We're made up of it. It's all that there is. And I take comfort in that. And I rest in that. And I encourage you to rest in the knowing that all there is, and you're a part of it. And to take those gifts that we are given and share them, especially into this Advent season. Because sometimes the smallest gift, just that smile that you give, is enough. It doesn't have to be a big one. So go out, look at the beauty around you, and realize that you are that beauty as well. And I know this, and I'm grateful for this, and I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for this team. I'm grateful for our minister. I'm grateful for our musicians. And I'm grateful for you for coming to see what we've got to say. And I'm grateful for the good in your life. And I relax and know that it is so, and so it is.
Say with me now, something wonderful is happening through me.
Something wonderful is happening.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my
I feel it in my mind.
I feel it in my mind.
I feel it in everything I am.
I feel it in everything I am.
I choose it.
I choose it.
I trust it.
I trust it.
I use it.
I use it.
And I love it.
And I love it.
And so it is.